Yeah, me too. All right, test.
Yeah, you're
test.
still rolling.
Okay. All right, cool.
3 more claps, Matt.
Yeah, sorry. Yay.
1, 2, 3.
Hey, you know it's good we weren't rolling.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Because the screen won't turn off. Like, so when you came up and it was dark, that's when I knew it wasn't rolling. I'm like, oh shit. All right, guys. Now sitting down for an episode of Tailgate Talk with somebody that you probably have seen his Instagram name, I'm sure, but you probably maybe haven't seen him behind the camera. Matt Dowsey. Thank you for joining me. Definitely, if I had like a top list of photographers, of like my favorite photographers, and I've told you this personally, you're up there.
Yeah.
I love the style that you do.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's good being appreciated, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Especially when it's mostly like a hobby more than anything type of a thing.
Exactly, and that's what I want people to kind of get to know you a little bit more. Is I don't think that they know a lot of the media guys and a lot of the photographers and stuff like that, like kind of behind the scenes type stuff, which I think is cool. But
Yeah.
how long have you been shooting for?
Prime Moto, maybe like 4 years now, I want to say.
What were you doing before?
Like landscape.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like a lot of like as far as like my interests and all that is mostly landscape stuff. Like I'd rather shoot like mountains and rivers than dirt bikes, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just ended up liking dirt bikes also, so
Yeah.
it's been cool though.
That's pretty good that you've only been doing it for 4 years and you're pretty damn good at it.
It was a grind. It was
Yeah.
a grind. Like you can't expect to just show up and like people already know who you are and all that kind of, like you have to build into it. It takes time.
Yeah, and which is something that I'm experiencing, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about that. Like, I think what a lot of you guys don't understand that's watching this is when you start something new, you have to depend on some of the guys that have been doing this a lot longer than you have. And you've been doing this even for 4 years. You've been doing it for a hell of a lot longer than I have.
I'm still a new guy though too.
It's fun. It's a good
Yeah.
club.
I'm still a new guy.
So you grew up, did you grow up riding? How'd you get into motocross? Like, how did that start?
Growing up, I was always into dirt bikes. Like 2 of my best friends growing up down the street, they both had dirt bikes. So just hanging out with them and everything, like I got into it. I was always watching the races every weekend. I finally got a dirt bike when I was 11.
Yeah.
I got an old 92 CR 125.
Nice.
Rode the shit out of that thing
Yeah.
for like 2 years. Had a really bad crash and then got kind of scared of it.
Yeah.
And at that time, we couldn't really afford for me to go to tracks and all that kind of stuff. So I ended up selling it, got out of the sport, picked up BMX, rode BMX for ever until probably maybe like 31. And then started dating my new girlfriend, who she's been into moto her whole life.
Okay.
So just the concept of that, like,
Kind of got you back into it.
kind of got me back
Yeah.
into it. And then I just started trying to take photos of her, and then that just
That's
rolled
how
into
it
this.
started.
Yeah,
So where'd you grow up at?
Lancaster.
Okay, so you've been there this whole time.
Well, I
then.
grew up in Rosemont, which is like 30 minutes, like not even 30 minutes, like 15 minutes north of Lancaster,
Yeah.
but nobody knows where the hell Rosemont
Yeah,
is.
so you say
So I
Lancaster.
say Lancaster.
Yeah. Which, so there's, the good thing is like there is riding out there, but you do a little bit more desert riding.
It's all desert.
Yeah, so, and then you have the one track up there.
Yeah.
So did you, when you were in like high school, how'd you first get into photography?
I didn't do photography then.
So when'd you start?
Probably 29.
Okay.
Somewhere around there, like maybe like probably like 6-7 years ago I started.
So what got you into it at that point?
Wanted to take photos of me and my buddies riding BMX.
That's how it goes. A lot of it's like video. Like a lot
Yeah.
of people start with like the video
Yeah.
cameras. I remember when I was younger, they would like, somebody would get like a fisheye lens or something like that.
100%.
And when you started doing it, what are some of like the challenges? Because I have a lot of people that follow this page that are like either getting into photography or videography or some kind of art form. What was it like when you first started, and what were some of the immediate challenges that you kind of faced, and some of the fun things that came from it? Like, how did that kind of go for you?
I don't know, man. It was all just trial and error. Like I didn't set out to, I want to be a professional photographer. Like I want to do this, I want to do that. Like I just did it because it was fun.
Yeah.
Like if I got shitty photos, I got shitty photos. If I got that one photo, I was stoked on the one photo.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit easier now though, because there are so many people that are doing it now. Like when you show up to the track, there's like 5 other people.
I mean, we were here today, and I could count. I could count about 6 or 7 guys that were shooting here today.
Yeah.
You know, and some guys are here on assignment.
Yeah.
You know, and then other guys are here shooting freelance. It just kind of depends. But I mean, it's got to be something where you fell in love with it because you've been still doing it for this long.
It's like my #1 passion now, and it sucks because I'll push off riding dirt bikes in order to go shoot photos.
Yeah, because you're open to do stuff right now. You could go ride.
Yeah.
But you're here.
But either way, like I'm around the sport, so it's still fun for me. Like regardless, I'm not riding the dirt bikes, but I'm still around them, so it's still cool to me.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite? It's hard to, because I've asked people this before, and people have asked me before. Do you have like a favorite memory of shooting so far, or like one of like your top? You could give me a few. Doesn't have to be like a top one. Of like either landscape. Give me a landscape one, and give me a moto one, because I think those are 2 different worlds for you. But like one that like maybe sticks out more than others do.
Just for landscape, shooting in the Grand Tetons
was pretty cool.
That's just such a bitchin' place.
Yeah.
The Tetons are cool.
Was that your most recent trip?
No, I did that one a couple of years ago. I think 2019 was the first time we went there. Moto, I think probably the first time I went to Carson Mumford's house.
Okay.
He was the first pro that I ever like just randomly hit up, like just on a whim, like, will he let me come shoot at his house? Will he not? And he was super open to it, super cool about it. His house is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's up in the high desert, right?
Yeah.
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 Alessi's old place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But super cool, like, didn't know what kind of photos I was gonna get. I was still at that time using a lot of preset shit too.
Yeah.
So, like my photos, when I look back at them now, are absolutely terrible, and I hate them. But
how stoked were you when you first got them?
Oh man, I was so excited.
Yeah. I think that's another misconception that a lot of people have is they're like, oh, your photos are this, or I'll compare mine. Like there's times where I compare my photos to yours, you know, and it's just like, but you have to remember is you're shooting a different style than I am. He's shooting a different style than we are. You're trying to get different things, and to not beat yourself up over it.
Yeah.
You know,
100%. 100%.
Like going back to what you said about trial and error, like that's what photography is like you literally, especially you're kind of how I am, where you're like, I asked you, did you get anything good? And you're like, I have no idea. Like you're like, I think so.
Yeah.
You know, and I think people get too discouraged from shooting or coming out here and or going out to whatever that they want to shoot because they're afraid to get bad photos, but you progress like you did.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you can always, like, for me, like, I'll shoot stuff and I'll have, like, my set photos where I'm like, oh, these are the really good ones, but then later on, I'll still have them in Lightroom or whatever you use to edit, and I'll tweak them later on, and it ends up being, like, a super cool photo. It may not be the big photo that you want, like, if you zoom in, crop in, tweak it, like, a certain way, it could still end up being, like, a really good photo.
Yeah. I know I have a few of my favorite riders to film or shoot photos of. Do you have some that you enjoy shooting more than others?
Anderson's always cool.
Yeah, he's up there too for me.
He's just fun to watch ride, and he's just one of the coolest dudes out there.
Yeah.
Twitch is fun.
Yep.
Wanky's fun. Bierman's fun.
Wanky's fun. Yeah.
All those guys are all super cool. Like, I haven't really had anybody that wasn't, like, genuinely nice. Like, I've had a few, like, just random people that were kind of rude.
Yeah.
Like, you'll send them photos and they don't even say thank you.
Yeah.
They don't do anything. And that's why, like, I don't take photos of just anybody anymore.
Yeah.
Like, when I first started, that was what I used to do. Like, I used to just shoot everybody because I'm like, they'll need the photos also. Like, it's practice for me, so why not just take them, send them out? But when you don't even say thank you, that's when I'm like, okay.
That's a good tip. So if you just get photos, just say thank you.
A simple thank you goes a long way.
Long way.
Long way.
It's like, take this with a grain of salt. I don't need your $20. I just need you to say, hey, thank you for doing this. Like, you don't have to send me $20 on Venmo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. I got one photo of you. I was already here. Just be cool about it. I run into that kind of same thing every once in a while. But when you go out there and you started shooting with those guys, how intimidating was it?
Oh, it's super awkward.
Awkward as hell.
Yeah, it's awkward because you don't know how to talk to them. Like,
Yeah.
are they gonna be normal human people
Yeah.
like me and you are, or are they gonna be like super quiet, reserved? But they've all been super cool. Everybody's been really nice. Like, they're really easily approachable, but it just depends when you go up to them.
Yeah.
Like, if they're in the middle of talking to their like mechanics, all that kind of stuff, don't bother them. Leave them alone. They're there doing their job.
They're there working. Yeah.
And that was always my biggest problem, was trying to not interrupt them.
Yeah. And like you could tell though when you go up to them, you could tell if they're busy most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like if they're sitting around talking to 15 different people at their rig, it's like, oh, they're trying to get through some testing right now.
Yeah.
Like now's not the time to go, hey, you want to talk
Yeah.
about this or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's good to know those things for people, because what the ones that I'm really hoping that watch this video are people that kind of want to get more behind the scenes stuff of moto and like maybe the media side of things.
Yeah.
And then also like up and coming people or younger kids that are thinking about getting into it, stuff like that, because I do think a lot of people look up to you as a photographer, and I think you do a phenomenal job. And so I think it was cool for people to get to know you a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
Do you have like goals of like shooting, like do you have like a bucket list of like things that you want to shoot, or riders that you want to shoot? Like do you have anything like that, or is it just whenever you can get out is when you get out?
Whenever I can get out is when I can get out.
Yeah, so you just love it.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's like I can't go as often as I would like, but I'm stoked with any time I can go out.
Yeah, because you're like me, you work a full-time job.
Yeah.
Like I work a full-time job, so like, and you're doing things that you have to do in order to provide, you
Yeah.
know, like for yourself, and for everybody around you, you know, like you have responsibilities, and so,
It's the commute that really kills me, and like I get discouraged on the commute because my day off, I don't want to drive 2.5 hours
yeah,
to go to a track, shoot photos for a little bit, and then it takes me like 3 hours to get home because traffic,
Yep.
and then to sit in front of a computer, edit stuff.
it's
Then
draining.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to spend all my days off doing that kind of stuff.
But I think that goes to show truly how much you enjoy doing this.
That's the thing. It's
You
just
know?
it's fun for me.
Yeah, and I think if you don't take it too serious, there's a lot of guys that take it way too serious.
Way too serious.
You know, and Hanny's probably one of my favorite riders to shoot,
Yeah.
Josh Hansen, and he said it best. He goes, dude, we're out here riding dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, you're taking yourself way too serious
Yeah.
right now. Like, and he was talking about like just whatever. He wasn't talking about me specifically. It was just talking about like people taking motocross way too serious.
Yeah.
And so I think when you're out here and you're doing this stuff, you got to enjoy it. And you've always been super kind and super nice to me when I first started and I didn't know what I was doing. I would ask you questions and you would give me advice and you would tell me, hey, do this, don't do that. You know, and that was something that I super appreciate from you.
Well, that's the only way that you're going to learn anything. Like, for me, I honestly didn't have anybody to kind of tell me the do's and the don'ts of certain
Yeah.
things. I just kind of had to figure it out myself, which was a little tough, but if I can pass anything on to anybody, I always try to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Like, even if it's stuff where if it's going to take a job, like a photo job for me, like,
Yeah.
cool, like, here's like, if it's a company that I shot for, but now they're going to be shooting for, like, I'll give advice, like, hey, they don't like this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Like, good luck, have fun with it.
Yeah, and then to figure it out. But that, again, you just don't take things too serious.
No,
you know?
and that's the thing. Like, I don't want it to be like I don't like. Oh, it's just strictly just a hobby. Like, if something could come out of this,
Yeah,
sweet. Like, I'm all for it.
yeah,
Like, I'd love to go shoot the Supercross races, the
Yeah.
moto races. Like, I'd love to do that. I don't know how to do it.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how that stuff goes, and I get asked from people all the time, like, why are you not shooting this stuff? How come you're not shooting this?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know the connections. I don't know how to do that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's like the world I'm kind of
Yeah.
trying to figure out now.
Yeah.
But it's more of it, because there are times where I've like, dang, I'm surprised. Have you shot any race before?
No.
Okay, so
I've shot from behind the fence.
so have
twice.
I.
Yeah.
Alright,
twice.
so I have too. That's like that's what we do. But you get killer stuff, you know. I mean, especially coming here at Fox Raceway, like we've shot here so many times
Yeah.
that like you kind of know where to go. Like you go to
Yeah.
Glen Helen a lot, you know where you can kind of get shots from and everything,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty good. But yeah, I know you're hungry. You want to get out of here. You're gonna go get In-N-Out, I'm sure.
Probably. I'm pretty hungry.
Yeah,
But still, this isn't bad. It's cool that you're doing this type of stuff. Like, nobody does this.
no,
It's a whole
yeah.
different. It's a whole different aspect. Like, I think the closest thing would be, like, probably Don's thing.
Yeah,
the
swap, yeah,
moto
yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah, he does a good job. I've told him that too. Like trying to get like behind the scenes stuff.
this
Yeah.
is different though. This is at the track. Like, they're just getting done riding. Like, you get to see how they really are.
Yeah, like
And
here.
that's how it should be.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It like I've said before is like I think that there's a lack of authenticity in the sport, especially when it comes to the industry people. That there are some people that handle it differently than others, and I'm trying to navigate that world and to show the side of moto that I see.
Yeah.
You know, and the things like when we're sitting around and we're talking to different riders, like how we enjoy and how we have that conversation, that's what I'm trying to replicate here.
Yeah.
You know, so it's good. But thanks for joining me.
Yeah,
I
sure.
appreciate it. But yeah, check him out. It's Dowsey on Instagram. Do you only have Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Dowsey. I would believe that you guys are already following this guy, but if you aren't, go follow him. You post killer stuff all the time. So
Thank you.
yeah, but yeah. All right, guys, thank you for listening and following along. There you go. See, it wasn't too bad.
No.